Well, first, if I may just say, this is really an exciting day for us to have all of you here in one room to share just your experiences with the Institute. So if you could just talk a little bit about the people who make up the Institute and just your thoughts on the impact that they do have for this organization.
When I came, it was very clear with everyone I met that they were loyal to the Institute, they loved working at the Institute, they were proud of what the Institute did.
Throughout the Institute of Agriculture, our servant leaders in nature and also humility runs real thick here, often don't take enough credit for great successes because they just think they're doing their job.
But you know, the best day was when I'd get a card or when my phone would ring and the person on the other end was telling me a story about somebody in this place who cared enough to make sure whatever they needed happened.
They feel a camaraderie here and a loyalty here that makes it a fun place to work.
So we still, I think, refer to ourselves as a family, and I think that's a positive thing. Not that we don't hold ourselves accountable, not that we don't expect good work to be done, but with their dedication and loyalty and the sense that we take care of each other as a family. I think that really makes a huge difference throughout the state.
So we've been doing a lot of research here in the marketing department about the 50th anniversary, and one of the things that came clear to us as we were reading through some older publications was that this was a rather bold move by the board to first establish the UT system, but then also to say we need an Institute of Agriculture. So I'd like to hear your all's perspectives on why you think it was important for us to become an institute, not just a normal ag program.
When it comes right down to it, this is a very rural state where agriculture is very, very important to majority of the citizens. And I think we fail to realize that. And even for those who are urban, agriculture is what puts food in their grocery. Grass in their front yard, roses in their backyard.
The Institute has more locations in the state than any campus has. The perception sometimes among the public is that you've got 5 campuses. Well, the Institute has more than 100 campus locations if you look at extension offices and research stations across the state. So
compare and say College of Agriculture versus some college on main campus, there's no comparison in size and programs and personnel and all of that.
And don't forget the people outside the Institute. I mean, the family is extended. I mean, the Farm Bureau, the commodity groups. I mean, I've never seen that kind of connectivity with a land-grant institution in my career that is available to us. And it's meaningful, it's family-like, and sincere.
I run into students every day on campus and alumni who are many years away from campus who mentioned that 4-H really had an impact on their decision to come to school, and then later on they'll indicate how much 4-H impacted them in terms of their public speaking, leadership, service, all the experiences they gained through 4-H program.
What kind of impact has the Institute had on the state of Tennessee and now as we move forward, even internationally, beyond our borders? What kind of impact has it had?
You know, when I think about sort of significant impacts that people recall all across the country, when the no-till agriculture program was started in West Tennessee, I mean, that was a landmark change in the way that we do farming in the entire nation and really around the world. So that's an example of something that started here and grew here and was built here that everyone uses now and recognizes.
Well, you have to say the 2 words, economy and environment, when you think about long-term impact of this place. Many contributions to the profitability and economy of the state of Tennessee, but also a leader in protecting the environment and making sure it all fits together.
Back, I came here as a faculty member in '65. The program with India, was it India, underway at that time? And we had quite a bit of exchange of faculty between here and India. And I think all of them came back with a much broader viewpoint of what we were trying to do here, really. Then Tennessee and Illinois and one other institution was working together on that Indian program at that time. And it was an important program to add to our visibility across the state.
So it's more synergistic, I think, than most people realize when you get into those international programs. And there are rewards that we've reaped in the environmental area here from what we've learned overseas.
It was amazing to find out that Tennessee agricultural people recognize that they don't operate just within the state of Tennessee, that it is a global economy. And they were on board with doing more international work and having the Institute be engaged across the world because it contributes back here at Tennessee as well as helping the world.
That reminds me, culturally too, we gain from that experience. I recall an agent that had about a 3-week international experience and came back, and I saw him about a year later, and he said he had given 73 different talks in the county in which he was located about his experiences to various groups, chambers of commerce, Kiwanis, Lions, you name it. And, you know, that's a great way, I think, to help to internationalize our state and to be better connected globally.
So, as you think about the leaders that will come after all of you, there certainly are always challenges. So, can you talk a little bit about what challenges you might see for us as we look to the next 50 years?
Well, I think clearly it's always a challenge to continue to do everything you've always done and yet do more as advances occur. And so I think, you know, that's not changed actually in the past 50 years. That challenge has always been there. But I think that'll be particularly pressing in the coming years as we see new advances in whatever field we talk about. I also think we've got to be growing, and in order to be keeping up, we're going to be constrained in that growth. I'm not sure funding will always be available to do everything we want to do or everything that we feel needs done. Even such factors as space, office space, classroom space, lab space, parking space. Those will be real challenges in the future as well. I don't think they're insurmountable. I think opportunities like Cherokee Farm across the river, I think opportunities like taking advantage of our other locations statewide will be possibilities to address those challenges.
If you can envision the future, that's what the future will be, because if you have a vision, you will take the steps to meet that vision and get there. If you don't have a vision for the future, then it's sort of a haphazard process. And so I think visioning is really critical for leaders today, not thinking about next year, but where do we want to be in 10 years or 20 or 50 years?
It's clear, you know, we've modeled for the entire University of Tennessee system through 2025 with a model that looked at an annual deficit in that last year, if it held true, of about $377 million in a single year and about $2.7 billion under the curve over that 10-year time frame since 15. We've closed that entire gap by becoming more effective and efficient, and also state appropriations have been relatively strong. That said, I think if you want to look short term for the future of this institute, figuring out a way to make sure those annual increases in costs that you have that are a matter of doing business are covered by state appropriations is a big challenge we have to figure out whether we can overcome or not. In tandem with that, technology probably in the next 20 or 30 years. I mean, whoever thought you would carry around in your pocket a computer that when my dad first got into computational mathematics was a mainframe and wasn't even half as powerful, and you had to have 20 tons of air conditioning to keep it cool. Where will we be in 20 or 30 when it comes to agriculture and veterinary medicine around where our technological advances are going? And I think our students are likely to continue to come to us wanting the latest. And so that puts you in a predicament where you have to have the financial ability to get the infrastructure you need to teach people who are coming to us expecting that. So a lot of challenges. This institute's always climbed over them. Some gifted leader will drop into these jobs over the next 30 or 40 or 50 years because it's a great place and it deserves one, and lots of people will be looking for this job, and they'll figure it out because the team will help them.
I recall interviewing when I came to the University of Tennessee in 1994 with Dr. Gossett. I recall a lot of conversations as traveling around the state with Dr. Britt about need to commit to excellence and really expect a lot out of the people that work with the Institute. Dr. DiPietro was just so supportive in embracing all the aspects of the Institute, and I think really was integral in bringing veterinary medicine even closer into all of the agricultural programs. And I think we're continuing to benefit from that today. And of course, Larry knew a lot about extension, knew a lot about the land grant system, but in particular, his thoughtfulness about strategic planning, about positioning for the future, and about gift support, which we continue to benefit from today, was really helpful. I'd like to leave this just as each of these gentlemen did, ready for another 50 years and committed to serving the state of Tennessee and the country and the world, really, for the years to come.